I'll introduce KS by asking you a question. Who had a more embarrassing week, Tim Scott or Ron DeSantis? It's on you.
Ron DeSantis, because Tim Scott is supposed to be embarrassing. What I mean by that is Tim Scott's the 16th seed. He's supposed to lose. DeSantis is supposed to be the front runner, right? DeSantis is supposed to be the heir apparent. DeSantis is supposed to be the guy who takes the Republicans into the next 20 years, right? And when you're mentioned in the same breath as the Dean's cream and all this other stuff, you start to realize that your campaign is probably in shambles. And I don't know if you saw this, his campaign manager or somebody part of his staff was arguing with like a 14-year-old kid on Twitter last night. And it was just embarrassing, right? But I will say this, John, a reflection of him. He is clearly not capable of running Florida. I know that people think he's doing a good job, but he's clearly not. He's not ready to lead the country, and he can't even get his campaign off the started. We'll talk about Musk in a second, but this was an absolute disaster across the board. Musk said this was the greatest live stream ever, the most people ever. And someone said there was like 3 million viewers of somebody skinning a potato on live or something the other day on Reddit. So Musk is a chaos too, and that's why I think they teamed up together.
Well, and this is not really so much related to the announcement, but overall my analysis of DeSantis that I've been making, and I think I've said on the pod a number of times. My big issue with DeSantis is, and more importantly, the DeSantis supporters, who are basically saying we love Trump's racism, we love Trump's homophobia, we love Trump's misogyny. We just want to make sure that it doesn't come in someone that has potentially got legal liability, right? And I think the Republicans need to be called out for that, right? But you know what's a problem is that the Republicans have gone so far to the right that even people that are more acceptable are still extreme. Glenn Youngkin now is looking like, he might be another suitable replacement. But Glenn Youngkin still has the racism. He still has the sexism. He still has the homophobia. Is it because they use a nice soft voice? That Republican voice when, we're really taking away your rights, but, we believe in Jesus and we're good people. And, I mean, and so that's the first thing we get to DeSantis. Now, speaking specifically about his launch, as someone was saying, he robbed himself of those moments. That moment of Obama in Springfield on a cold day. While we definitely think that the Trump coming down the escalator was a farce, it resonated with their base. And talking about how all Mexicans are rapists. So you can't introduce you can only introduce yourself to the public once. And put it this way, I think we all kind of anticipate. I heard a lot of people talking about how it was going to be a technical disaster, but even if it wasn't a technical disaster, it was a missed opportunity. Even if everything with Elon had gone smoothly, to me it was a missed opportunity. And DeSantis he's not ready for prime time.
Well, yeah, John. I mean, I think it's interesting that you bring that up because that's why he did it, right? Like DeSantis is, from what I read and from what people reported, is a control freak. He wants to control every image that's out there of him. He hates those images of like him in the white boots or that image of Biden when he landed in Florida, stuff like that. He tries to make sure that he can control, and there is no gaffes if you just go on a Twitter space and talk, right? Technically, there is no gaffes. Nobody has a meme of it. There isn't video of it. People can't relive it. Nobody's going to listen to a 2-hour Twitter space. And so there's nothing in TikTok. There's nothing to make viral. And I think that's part of the calculation here for DeSantis was let's go safe. The problem with going safe, John, is who cares, right? You're not going to win over Pennsylvanians by this. You're not going to win over Arizonians by hanging out with Musk, who's now virtually hated by every group other than white supremacists. you're not going to win over voters in Ohio, or I mean, Ohio he probably has Ohio, but Georgia by doing this, right? You and I learned this from Obama. And I thought Biden, granted, the pandemic was there, so a little bit different, but Obama thought the mistake that Hillary made and others were you need people to knock on doors and go. And you know that better than anybody, right, John? You need people to go and knock on doors. And this is just people win you elections, and this seemed very robotic to me. Musk seems very robotic. Twitter is an app. Twitter Space is an app. And it's just dry and it's bland. And I suppose that's a metaphor for him.